Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back. I don't know about you, but I absolutely hate it when my bike creaks. Considering how many moving parts there are on a modern full suspension bike, even if your bike is quiet now, over time you'll eventually run into some dreaded noises. I think many of us just assume the creak is coming from the bottom bracket area, especially if you have a press-fit BB. While the early days of BB30 were indeed crappy, the truth is most modern bikes with PF86 or 92 are pretty dialed at staying quiet if they're installed properly. Therefore, there's a very good chance your creak is coming from somewhere else. So here are the top 5 things to check before swapping that press fit bottom bracket. You'd be amazed at how many creaks begin and end at the seat post. Look at the back of any seat post clamp and you'll quickly realize why, as there's a ton of dirt that gets thrown up from the rear tire. Over time, even the slightest weight shift in the seat can cause noises, so obviously you'll want to remove and clean the entire assembly. It's also a good idea to apply a light amount of lube on the clamp portion as well as the bolts that secure it. Then loosen the seat post clamp, lift it up a few inches, give it a good wipe down, and apply some grease or carbon grit paste before torquing it down properly. Now obviously, if the post is super muddy, it's probably a good idea to remove it and clean the inside of the seat tube as well. The second place to check is the pedals and the chain ring. If you have an extra set of pedals, swapping them out is a quick way to eliminate them as a possibility. The next thing I usually do is take off the cranks and pay particular attention to the area where the chain ring attaches to the crank, as a lot of dirt can get caught in here over time and cause some noises. A good wipe down and a liberal amount of grease will usually keep this quiet for a while. So moving right along, I've personally seen plenty of drivetrain creaks coming from the derailleur hanger assembly. And the first thing to check is how tight the hanger bolt is, as it's not uncommon to have these back out quite a bit over time. My last creak actually came from the point where this hanger assembly touches the frame, so a quick clean and grease was all it took to make it all quiet again. Creaks around the headset are also very common. Now these noises usually sound a bit different than drivetrain creaks and typically happen when you're bombing down some rough trails. Pay particular attention to the interface between the crown race and the bearings, as I've cured countless number of creaks originating from this location. Finally, if you're getting a ticking noise while putting the power down on the pedals, I would definitely check the rear cassette as a possible culprit. Start by actually removing the cassette, and for this you'll need a chain whip and a lock ring tool. If you don't have these tools, I would definitely add them to your list of must-have items. The cassette will either be a single unit like the one shown here, or multi-pieces if you have a Shimano or other brand. Either way, you'll want to wipe down any dirt and apply a good amount of grease on the free hub body where the hub mounts to the cassette before reinstalling it. So there you have it, 5 of the most common areas for creaks on a mountain bike. Even if your bike is quiet now, it's definitely worth going through this routine as preventive maintenance every once in a while. If these tips don't solve your creaking noises, stay tuned for part 2 where we actually look at some less common areas to check on your bike. But until then, remember those trails don't get easier, you get better. We'll see you on the next one.